bring my boy Philly 500 in. Super Bowl 57 is Sunday. Here you are, brother. I mean, hey, get this.
Here I am. Denzel Washington in the flesh. What
Here
can I say?
Hey, get this. So my daughter's in Phoenix. She goes to school in Phoenix, right? She says that she was at the grocery store the other day, and she goes, hey, there's a ton of Philly fans. They're all wearing their gear.
I'm sure.
They've taken over Phoenix. Not a surprise.
No, not surprised at all. I expect it. I wouldn't expect anything less, my friend. I'm ready, Dan. I have nothing else to say. Like, I feel like we've talked and watched every possible thing I could watch. I just need this game to start. You know what I mean? I need it to go. I need to get going.
I've got a list of 6 things here.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you. You tell me.
All right.
I think these are the biggest question marks going into Super Bowl 57. I started my show off with this, and I'll ask you. Number 1, do you think the Chiefs' O-line can slow down the Eagle pass rush?
No.
Why?
I do not. Because, 1, I have not seen anybody all year long been able to do it. And I think the lack of run game is going to hurt the Chiefs. Because I think that I don't think the Eagles are worried about it. I don't think they're threatened by it. So I think it kind of gives you a step. It makes them a little more one-dimensional. Now, Patrick Mahomes can hurt you still, but I still think it makes them a little more one-dimensional.
Are you worried about their screen game?
Yeah, I worry about the screen game because Andy Reid has been very good, even when he was with the Eagles. Very good screen team. But I don't know, I think that screen would. I actually think the Eagles should use a screen game on the Chiefs because they're going to blitz a lot. And I think it would be open. But it's a concern, not that big of a concern.
See,
I don't know if we blitz enough.
Delayed screens, they got the backs to make that. You see what they can do because of Reid and because of Mahomes. They can substitute a running attack with that because the quarterback. But again, I'm with you here. I don't believe that the Chiefs O-line. Look, the center's good. They got a good guard and they got a good tackle. But I just don't see enough up front. Here's number 2. Can Chris Jones disrupt the Eagles' offense?
It's a great question. He's a great player, but I'm gonna say the same thing almost in reverse here. And I'm going to say it is all year long, I have seen that offensive line pretty much shut down everybody put in front of it. So I have no reason to believe they're going to have any different problem with him. Look what they did with Bosa. Look what they've done with Parsons. Everybody that they've played against, they've had no problem with. So I don't think he's going to be able to disrupt it enough.
How about this too, Philly? I don't think this is being covered enough. Dexter Lawrence was a non-factor. He's an all-pro. Right. Jeffrey Simmons, the kid from Tennessee, all-pro. Right. Bosa, DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, all these guys all year long, they've stuffed them. Why would I believe Chris Jones is going to be any different in the middle of that line disrupting him? I mean, he's, like you said, 15.5 sacks. He's probably the best interior player in the game this year. But why would I think any different when they have stuffed all these guys?
They've done it to everybody that they've gone against, and we've heard it every week. Oh, you're gonna have problems with Bosa. Oh, you're gonna have problems with Michael Parsons. Oh, it hasn't happened, so I don't think it's gonna happen now.
Number 3, can Hurts raise his level of play? And the reason I throw this in here, he hasn't had to have an exceptional game. I mean, that's and again, it's not so much a rip. I think it's a product of him being injured. But I say this to you. I go, I disagree with Seth. Seth disagrees with me. I think you're going to have to do more than 133 yards passing and 39 yards rushing to beat Kansas City Sunday. I think you're going to have to make some plays in the passing game to beat them or control them. I'm not saying he's going to have to throw for – I said this. If he throws for 250, Philly, and he has 75 yards rushing, I think they win 31-17, and I don't think this bitch is close. But if he has what he's done in the playoffs so far, I think it's a fourth quarter game. And you know what? Mahomes and Andy Reid with the game on the line in the fourth quarter. That's my only take on that.
I think Hurts just has to go do what Hurts has done all year. Yeah, the playoffs.
But he
Yeah,
hasn't done that lately.
I think in the playoffs, I think his passing game wasn't great, but he still didn't turn over the ball. He's not turning over the ball. He's not doing things like that. That's what is going to absolutely kill us. I will say this though, from like a gut standpoint, from what I know of Jalen Hurts, I think this is going to be his best game of his career. I think he's built for moments like this. So I think he's going to go out and do it.
Number 4. Can Mahomes continue elite play on an injured ankle? Is that another storyline here? Because to me, if I'm Jonathan Gannon, do you bring pressure to test that early to see if he's healthy, or do you allow him like he's allowed other quarterbacks? I mean, they've allowed a lot of quarterbacks to have high percentages against that defense.
No, that's my nightmare scenario. Do not sit back and let him just have all day to throw and pick you apart. Do not do that. Do not give him too much respect. I say bring pressure, bring it early, hit him early. I think you got to hit Mahomes early. I think you got to hit him. You got to knock him around. You got to make him aware. Don't let him get comfortable. That's the one thing. I'm sure Kansas City would have no problem. 4-yard pass here, 4-yard pass here, 3-yard pass, 3rd and 2 here, 3rd and 1 here, and go down, kill 7-8 minutes. I'm sure they would love that. I don't want to do it. I think you got to bring pressure. I think you got to be aggressive. Trust your corners. You got Darius Slay, James Bradbury. You got Devonta Max. Let these guys man up these receivers. They don't scare me. The only guy that scares me is Kelsey. I say bring pressure. Let's knock this guy's head off. I'm ready to go right now, Dan. I can't.
But to your point, that's one of the questions was down here is like, who will step up offensively for the Chiefs? And this kind of goes along with what you're saying. I mean, at the wide receiver position, they don't have Tyreek Hill to threaten you deep anymore. So Jonathan Gannon is always worried about the plus 25 play beating him. Dude, There's nobody on that roster that can beat Bradbury and Slay at the corner.
No.
Don't you press them so that you give your guys a chance more to get home?
That's what I would do. And you know what? I got to tell you, I think in the playoffs, and maybe some of it had to do with San Francisco's situation, but I thought Gannon has been way more aggressive in those 2 playoff games. And if he just continues to do that, I don't think that. I think that's what you want. I don't want Mahomes 17-18 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. I don't want Mahomes to sit back and just pick the soft zone back, and they're just keeping everything in front, and it's just ball control through short passing game. I do not want that at all.
No, I don't want him in any kind of tempo.
No.
I mean, Mahomes is a tempo player, and I do not want him getting in any kind of tempo. Here's another one. Will A.J. Brown have a breakout playoff game? They haven't had him do anything. I mean, they've been very mediocre numbers. Now, again, they haven't had to, but you got 2 rookie corners. And you got A.J. Brown. I'm going to throw a stat at you here too, Philly. Do you know that he is 41.4% of the passing offense this year, which means he's had over 50% of the targets.
Wow.
I mean, the impact that this guy has been gargantuan when it comes to the number 1 trade in the offseason. Think about that. 41% of the passing offense went through him.
That's crazy because
it's third in the league.
Devonta Smith led the team in receptions. So Devonta Smith, I mean, that means he pretty much catches everything you throw his way. I think A.J. Brown's going to make an impact on this game. I don't know. I have a gut feeling Devonta's going off. I just got this feeling, Dan, Big Sills. I got a feeling about Devonta. But I think A.J. Brown's going to make a big play at some point that's going to make a big difference in this game.
I think the 2 tight ends in this game, I think that's the watch because to me, I don't believe the Eagles have anybody to cover Kelsey, and I don't believe the Chiefs have anybody to cover Dallas Goedert. And to me, it's going to be about getting the football in those 2 dudes' hands.
Yeah.
If Kelsey has a big game, okay, it'll be a close game. If he does it because they can't get a running game going, Philly, like I said, I find it hard to believe. And I know See, Vegas knows something here because it's only 1.5. A
Yeah.
lot of people I'm talking to are saying that double digit, this and that. And I think it is, but I don't know, man. 2 tight ends key in this game.
I think Goddard is I think a big weapon for the Eagles. I think he's a safety blanket for Hurts. Kelsey is what scares me. He is literally what scares me. I'll ask this. I was thinking about this. Would you consider trying something different with Kelsey? Like maybe at times switch it up, put Chauncey Gardner on him, let Chauncey cover him since you're playing man with your other guys. Maybe even throw Bradbury in there once in a while on passing situations. Like do something different because I don't think the linebackers can handle him at all. So
this is what I said yesterday. I think you double him. I think you pound him. I think you hit him.
Yeah.
I don't think you let him off the line of scrimmage. I think you run games at him. I think you do everything at him. Don't let him beat you because he can beat you. Hey, if you put the game in the hands of Juju Smith-Schuster, he's not beating you. If you let Kelsey get loose, he and Mahomes can beat you with Reed.
Right. I agree. That he is the concern. That is
he's the concern. But the one thing that Kansas City doesn't have this year, and he put up big numbers, man, 110 catches, 1,400 yards. I get it, and I understand, and they're magnificent numbers. However, that team is a nickel and dime team. They're not going to beat you deep. That's not what they've done this year.
Right.
I'll throw this at you, too. I said this. Now, let's just go here. This is after you're drunk and you're sliding down a pole in Broad Street and you're doing all that.
If I climb up that pole, I'm not coming down. Let me tell you right now. If I get up, I ain't coming down.
How about this? If I'm Howie Roseman, I address the Jalen Hurts contract early because you know why? I do not want Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow to set the market because those guys are going to get $55 million. Lamar's deal on the table is already 51.3. If you're Howie, you go to them. I think Jalen would take 45. But if you sit around and wait and you don't address it and you let those other guys set the market, that's going to cost you probably $10 million more. Do you agree?
Yeah, but I think Jalen's better than Lamar Jackson right now. He brought his team to a Super Bowl. What has Lamar Jackson done in the playoffs? So if he's getting $51 million, and I'm Jalen Hurts' agent.
But what has he done in the playoffs?
Who?
Jalen
Hurts. He carried his team. He brought his team to Super Bowl, whether you like it or not. But he was the quarterback. He didn't blow the game. He didn't throw a fumble. He hasn't.
Listen, I don't think he's played. I think that they have not. He has not played well in the post. I thought it was okay in the Giant game. And I will say this to you: the 3 playoff games. How do you think Jalen Hurts? Just your take. How do you think in the 3 playoff games that he's played so far with Philly? How do you think he's played?
Well, the first one was a horrible game, but it's so hard for me to look at all 3 in totality because to me it's 2 different Jalen Hurts. The Jalen Hurts that we got this year is not the same guy as last year. And if you were talking about this year, I would say I thought he was good in the Giants game. I thought he was what we needed in the Niners game. The thing with the Niners game is if that's a 17-17 game in the fourth quarter, that's when he would have had the opportunity. There was no real opportunity for him to go out and win that game in the 49ers because Hassan Reddick just destroyed Purdy from the get-go. So, Jalen Hurts did what he had to do. I think Jalen Hurts, and what I'm trying to say is I think he can adapt to the situation that need to be at any time. I really believe it. Now, he missed a pass to A.J. Brown that was probably a touchdown, and he would like to have it back. But I just think Jalen Hurts is built for this. You know what I mean? I know he doesn't have the Josh Allen arm, the Mahomes arm, and what we could talk about, but I think this kid is a built winner, man. I think if it was a 17-7 game, let's say it was a tie game, fourth quarter versus the Niners, and he needed a drive and to make the throws, I believe he would have risen to the occasion. But it just hasn't. It didn't have to happen.
Last question for you. What line of the Eagles has the bigger impact in the game? D-line or O-line?
Man, that's a great question, because if I had two keys, I would say for the Eagles is I think you have to establish some sort of run, and then you have to get pressure on Mahomes. I think I'm gonna say the defensive line, because I think that pressure on Mahomes, even if you don't have 6 sacks, but just making him uncomfortable, will be the difference in this game. I really believe that.
So what are you doing for Super Bowl Sunday?
I'm streaming. I'm gonna be with everybody here on YouTube, pacing and cursing and yelling and nervous wreck, man. I'm streaming the game. So all you have to do is come to my channel. You can see what's going on.
I'm going to. By the way, are you gonna be more nervous for this game than you were for the 17 game?
No. Probably not. I was so nervous for the 17 game. I was afraid that I was going to jinx it if I streamed. So I refused to stream the game. I didn't stream the game. And then when we won, I'm not lying, I didn't go to sleep for 3 days, Dan, because I thought it was a dream. I was so afraid I was going to wake up and be like, I'm dreaming. The fact that we got the first one out of the way, I'm going to be a little more relaxed. Now, I still think you got to win this game, because this team is on the verge of being the best Eagles team I've ever seen. I think one of the better teams we've seen in a long time. And they got to finish the job. And if you don't finish the job, it's going to sting. This game could sting as bad as that Tampa Bay Eagles game. I saw you had Brad Johnson on the other day. I was driving me nuts because he kept talking about that championship game, which I still haven't recovered from. Like, that was the worst loss ever. So this would be up there with that.
That's what I said. I go, you lost hey, I love Brad. He's one of my boys. But hang on. You lost an NFC championship game to Brad Johnson?
Yeah. The last game at the vet.
Look at you.
I haven't. That's the greatest loss I've ever. Like, I still have not recovered from that loss. Like, to me, it was worse than losing the Super Bowl to Brady in 2004. We were supposed to win that game. We were supposed to go to the Super Bowl. We went up 7-0 in that game. And it looked like, oh, yeah, here we go again. We destroyed Tampa Bay every time we've played them. They're horrible. They don't win under like 32 degrees. Everything's perfect, and you lose the game. I still haven't recovered from that. So,
hey, did you hear what he said at the end? That the Eagle management came down and told the Bucs they're the only team that has won the NFC on a away field. They told them, no, you're not closing the vet out, and you're not celebrating on the field. They had to celebrate in the locker room, those shitty locker rooms, because the Eagle management wouldn't allow them to celebrate.
I wonder if that was for their own safety. I mean, because the fans were taking seats and stuff from that game. You know, like they were taking the seats from the stands home with them. So like maybe it was for their safety, but they closed the vet down with a win, and then they beat us on opening the link. So it just always that it still makes me sick, man. It does.
Billy, I'll be thinking of you on Sunday, brother. Thank you so much, man. You're so awesome when you come on the program.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. Have a great Super Bowl Sunday.
You too. Take care, man. Bye.
You got it. That's my boy, Philly 500. Please hit the like button. I'm going to ask you the question about the O-line, D-line. Who dominates more? I'll tell you who I think. We'll do that next. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messa & Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messa & Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missanelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Why do millions of people every year from around the world visit Philly's Rocky statue?
You want to tell me the sky is burgundy with green stripes and yellow polka dots? I'll meet you on that. But you're never going to convince me Rocky is anything other than the pure greatness that it is. Never going to happen.
Join me, Paul Farber, for WHYY's The Statue. We're going on a journey to explore the biography of the Rocky statue. Find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
National Football Show. Appreciate you coming aboard. Thank you very much. All right. Who do you think has the bigger impact on Sunday? O-line, D-line for the Eagles? Gee, Paul, thank you so much. Dan, thanks for the season. Better do this just in case. Paul, thank you, man. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you, man. Very kind of you. Thank you. That's an honor for you to do that, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. That's very cool. Tone says offensive line. D-line has to have a big game. Is that a different question, though? Who has to have the game versus who do you think has? Well, I guess it's kind of the same. Because you're going against the best quarterback. You're going against the best quarterback in the game. So I would say that the D-line has to be the one that has to show up on Sunday. They have to show up. Charlie, thank you. They have to show up. You've got to get to Mahomes. Who needs to have the biggest impact versus who will have the biggest impact is different to me. It's different to me too. Because the D-line has to. Who will? You're right. They're too different. They're too different. They are. I think the Eagle offensive line is going to have a huge game. Because why would they not? Would this be considered the greatest O-line in Super Bowl era? No. Well, wait a minute. There's more Hall of Famers on the Eagle O-line than that Steve. The greatest O-lines, Langer, Little, and you had Kuchenberg. But Kuchenberg's not a Hall of Famer. Those Dolphin teams. The Cowboy teams, I can't think of any during the Landry era, but one. The offensive tackle, Rayfield Wright, was that his name? Remember Rayfield Wright was a tackle? I don't think there was another guy in that old line during the Landry Cowboys that made the Hall of Fame. You guys remember Rayfield Wright? Could this be the greatest offensive line in Super Bowl era history?